weight loss was huge, and I really strongly believe in manifestation and really putting what you want out there and really focusing on it. So for the last year, all 2024, the back of my bathroom drove like a kindergartner threw up on it because I had my vision board and I had everything on there, and I had 175 on there in big. That's the goal I wanted to get to.
Episode 2 of our Reps and Real Talk. This is, of course, our second episode, and you are our first guest. So I want to welcome you to, no problem. So Reps and Real Talk is where we're just interviewing people, real results, real lives, real things happening. And we're just excited to have you, Evie. So we got Evie Enderle with us, and we're just very excited to have someone who's a hard worker, someone who challenges themselves. If you have a fitness center, you gotta have a Evie Enderle. That's what we always say. You can have a Evie, but you can't have ours. So we're just very excited to have you, and we just want to share a little bit of your story for people who need motivation or just want to keep pushing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing, let's just give us a synopsis of who Evie is before Fitness Destinations.
Before and after, completely different people. I'm Evie. I grew up in California. I then went to Minnesota for college and met my husband. And I told him I can't be in the cold anymore. So get a job somewhere else. So we ended up down here in North Carolina, and we own U.S. Discount Office Furniture. So we run that company together. But pre-Fitness Destinations, I was kind of just floating around. I had done some, workout classes and been kind of active in my younger years, but as I graduated from college and got into my career, it really slipped away. So no need to make a change. But before coming here, I was just doing nothing. So it really has been a huge difference. But other than that, that's kind of my.
Well, I was like, because you're in your 20s, right?
28.
28. Okay. How did you find Fitness Destinations? Because I was like. Because this is over a year and a half ago you've been with us.
Right, yeah. So my friend asked me to get ClassPass because she was doing Pilates and she was really liking it. So I decided to sign up for ClassPass, and I went to a few Pilates classes, and it wasn't for me. It was very difficult, but just in a different way that I prefer to challenge myself.
Oh, yeah.
So I still had some credits left, so I kind of bopped around to a few different gyms in the area and showed up here one day, and I have never gone to another gym since. Since day one of being here.
So question for you, and this is what I like to ask people when they first start with this. When you first walked into Fitness Destinations, what was your initial thought?
There's just an energy here that I've never experienced with any other gym. I walk in, there's always just such a joyful greeting, and even on my first day, I just felt so connected with the trainers here, and I felt like even though we have group classes, that I was always getting individual attention. And the weekly workouts are so well-rounded. I obviously started coming every single day because
you do come every single day.
Yeah.
When you're not here, I'm like, what's going on?
Right. Yeah.
Why is Evie not here?
There's really no other excuse. So, just really the energy here is unlike anything I've ever experienced. And, sometimes when my husband and I talk about moving, within Charlotte and stuff, I'm like, well, it has to be within 15 minutes of the gym. I don't ever want to leave. So it really has become such a huge part of my life.
That's so awesome. Well, you kind of went up like that. Is that your favorite part, the energy? And what did the gym environment, as you started on this journey of weight loss and strengthening, and what did Fitness Destinations and the support from even the clients, because you go to 9:15 class every day, like what kind of support did that help you in starting? I'm like, I'm gonna start doing this. I can do this.
Yeah, I think I really struggled for a while. Back in late high school and college, I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I really did enjoy moving my body. And once I graduated, and then COVID hit, and I just kind of shrunk back down, and it's just so comfortable to stay on the couch. And once I came here, I just fell in love with moving my body again. It didn't really matter if I was having a bad day or stressed at work or whatever's going on. I can kind of come in here and turn my brain off. I look at that board, I look at whoever's coaching that day, and everything else disappears for the 45 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
So that has been my favorite part of being here.
So it sounds like you've tried in the past doing weight loss, strength training. What was different this time? Like what?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love jujitsu, but I feel like I was always being pushed to compete, and I'm really competitive with myself. So I feel like being in here, and
That is
even
very
though it's
true.
a lot of times the same people, we still get other people coming in, and I feel like we can push each other, but it's not for some big stressful reason, you know. It's not anything weighing on me. It's really just, do I want to get better today? Do I want to stay the same today? But either way, you're showing up here, you know, you're getting better.
How would you compare, like, because jujitsu is no freaking joke.
No, it is not.
Yeah, have you ever gotten hurt doing it? For real? What'd you hurt doing?
When I was competing, you know, I didn't want to lose. Like an arm bar and like doing everything
Yeah.
to get out, and I come away with, you know, a dislocated elbow and, you know, all that great stuff.
Wow.
But I eventually realized that was not really what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Especially after taking such a long break, I then rejoined before COVID had hit. But it just wasn't the same. So I was really just seeking out something like this, exactly like this, where I can push myself, and it's, you know, it's not CrossFit, it's not regular gym, but it's just, I don't know, something special here, something different.
We like to say, so when I have people come in and they do like a consult with us, one of the things I like to say a lot is when people are kind of on the fence and they're like, well, what is it like? And I always say, it's kind of like trying to explain what salt tastes like. You really got to just try it and see how you like it. Yeah, and I think just hearing your story, it kind of goes into that. You got to just kind of try it and step out there. And I think that's super dope that you tried jujitsu, which means you're a badass. And then going right into like, I'm gonna try this gym because I am competitive, but I want to be competitive with myself a little bit more and challenge my body in different ways. So that's pretty, kudos. I need to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try it again, but this will still be my
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we may do something here.
My time has passed for that.
We might do a jujitsu
Just watch.
self-defense class, something, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. You are 100% internally competitive because I do work out with you. And you were crushing it at the gym, and then you decided to add on the 75 hard.
Yeah.
So you're so consistent. I mean, when I say you're not here one day, I'm like, why is Evie not here?
I let you guys know if I'm
And now you do. You know, if you let us know if you're going to go on vacation or you're going to be out of town.
Yeah.
But then you decided you were going to do the 75 hard. So what prompted you to start that journey along with, I mean, you didn't miss a beat here.
Yes, yeah. This was fully incorporated, you know, 75 hard, one of the
Because you have to do 2 workouts a day.
Yeah. One indoor, one outdoor. They can both be outdoor. But I, you know, had lost a good bit of weight. I think I had, starting back when I started, MJ had me hop on the scale. And this was during the winter, so I had, you know, sweatshirt and pants on and stuff. But my weight was 202, and I literally, like, just shut down. It's like I never thought I would see my weight starting to go, which is totally fine. It's not a bad number, just for me personally. Like, I am tall, I am, you know.
Right,
kind of
and you're muscular, yeah.
I just wasn't prepared to see that. So once I started working out here and that number started coming down, I kind of got to the low to mid 180s, and then I was kind of stalling. So I knew it wasn't the workout was the issue. I knew it was kind of everything else in my life with, you know, nutrition or just moving outside of the gym, right? Like here, I give it my all for 45 minutes, and then I sit in my office chair for you know, the next 8 hours. So I knew I had to do something to kind of boost that because I had further, you know, goals to get to. So yes, I would be in here for.
So by then you probably lost what, like 20 pounds? 15 to 20 pounds.
Right. Yeah, wavering in the 180s.
And you'd lost some body fat too.
Right.
So.
And one of the things, I know we use the word consistent a lot, but I really want you to really let people know how consistent you've been, because when people say consistent, some people think 2 times a week. Some people think, 3 times a week. And that may work for them, but like, how often do you come to this gym and work out? Because I see you as much as I see Gretchen, and Gretchen works here. And so I'm like, I almost feel like you need a W-2 as well, as much as you come. So like, really explain, like, how often do you come? What's your schedule like?
I started with ClassPass class, I was coming probably 2 to 3 days a week. I'd look for whatever class with the smallest
Numbers.
credits. And,
Yeah.
Oh.
But then I, fell in love, and I was like, I need to be here every day. So I eventually switched to the unlimited, and I think that helps too. What like a Planet Fitness where you're paying 10 to 20 bucks a month. It's so easy to skip the gym because you're only paying 10 to 20 bucks.
Right.
When you're
Yeah.
doing the unlimited, it's like, I'm paying for this. I'm going to be here. I'm going to take advantage. So I really am here Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
You are.
I started coming to Wednesday night yoga. I occasionally come to Saturday morning yoga and the Saturday free class. So I'm here 5 to 6 days a week and 5 to 7 times a week.
Wow. And I think that's something that needs to be noted, because to lose the amount of weight you've lost, I don't know if we got there yet, we'll get there. And to see the results that you've got with us, it's not easy to do. I'm sure there are times that you wake up and you're like, I know you love us a lot, but I'm sure you wake up and you're like, I don't freaking want to come to this gym today.
Those days are rare, but they certainly happen.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, we're in a society now where not everyone, but a lot of people think you have to feel good in order to go do something that you need to do. When you may have not been motivated. You may just be very disciplined. And I think that's what it takes to see some of the things that you've seen,
I think you definitely have to have some discipline
Yeah.
along with your perseverance. And because there are going to be days when you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's leg day.
Yeah. Oh, just this past Friday, I had a bad morning and I came in and saw the workout and I just wanted to walk out. But it's like, nope, we made it.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Oh, yeah.
What happened? 45 minutes later, I was on
Yeah.
top of the world.
I try to tell everybody, I'm like, you can do anything for 45 minutes. And even when you're at the end of the workout and you're so tired, I'm in high yellow, you get in red all the time on the My Zone. But it's like, okay, I got 6 minutes left. I can do this for six more minutes. And I think if you can wrap your head around that, then you can get through the workout.
That's true.
It really is. I don't like anything numbers going up. I need my numbers going down.
Yeah.
But it is really a mental game when you're working out.
Yeah, I think that's another great part about our classes is a lot of other gyms are an hour. And that really, I don't know, in my mind, just seems so much longer than 45 minutes. Like, it's under an hour. I can be, from my front door back to my front door in, an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is just this one.
So it makes it
day.
feasible to be able to get it in.
Yeah.
So you really don't have an excuse not to come.
Yeah. But some people can find excuses.
We can always find
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So 75 hard. So you're down 10 pounds, 15, 20 pounds. You've been here for what, like 4 months? When did you start it? 4 or 5 months?
The end of July of 2024.
Okay, so it was
Here
for
like
8 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
And why did you decide? You talked a little bit. You were kind of maybe plateauing and
Right.
figuring out.
Yes.
Like-
incorporated, the diet.
You got it. Yeah.
Second workout. I did it during hurricane season, which I didn't consider. It's part of you have to do at least one, if not two, of your workouts outdoors. So I did a lot of miles of walking and running in the rain, committing to a diet. So I have a huge sweet tooth. So that was part of mine, getting rid of that. I missed fries like no other. Yeah, no alcohol.
Oh, French fries, the best comfort food.
Yeah.
So it was, a culmination of all those things that I had put the physical exercise part of it together, but not the eating part of it.
You needed
Yeah.
yeah.
So it really was more of like a holistic approach, as extensive as it was.
Well, and that's what I think the 75 hard, it really does make you look at everything.
Yeah.
And it's 75 days. I mean, and I tell everybody, I'm like, losing weight is not easy. Getting in shape, improving your health. If it's easy, then
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it
No.
if it's easy. I
Yeah.
feel like
Say everyone wants the wagon, but nobody wants to do the dragon.
everyone wants the wagon, but nobody wants to drag it.
Yeah.
And I think that's true, especially in today's society. Things just come easy with, people getting, and I have no problem with people who get the BBLs and surgeries, but I just feel that in this day and time, there are things that you learn by just grinding from the bottom and getting it. And I like to use the term getting it out the mud, because when you're grinding, when you're pushing, there's a mental fortitude that you have that I think that you have when I'm watching you work out, that you can see that you're just not going to give up. And that transcends not just the gym, but it transcends hardships you may have at work, with family, with friends, in this world. And I think we need more of that.
Yeah,
you
you
know.
can see in my face I'm annoyed. I don't want to be doing it. I see
Yeah.
jump spots up there.
Yeah.
In my eyes, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
You do it.
You're here, you know. Yeah, you're here, and that's the biggest thing.
It is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is showing up and putting in the work. So during your 75 hard, did you have any slip ups? Did you have any like moments where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore? And
A lot.
so how did you figure out how to push through that?
Yeah, no, I didn't have any slip ups because if I'm being honest with myself and committed to myself, that's part of the rule. If you miss one thing on one
Start
day,
over.
you start over.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not starting.
Oh, is that the rule?
Yeah, so if you miss your 10 pages of reading that day, you're starting over.
Day
So I
one.
didn't miss anything. So I didn't have any slip ups, just because I wanted to be really honest to myself. But I wanted to quit all the time. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had printed out on my wall.
Oh yeah, because didn't you have to go to a wedding? Like you had
I had a high school reunion.
Yeah, oh yeah, the reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a lot of social engagements during it too.
Yeah, so many birthdays. It's still summer. I started end of July, so I had all of August, September, and I ended middle of October. So
Yeah.
and there's never a good time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, now it's the holidays. Oh, well, now it's this, now it's that. So you have to just pick 75 days. There's always going to be something, but
Yeah.
they certainly
That's
make it more
true.
difficult having those social, trips and events and whatnot.
Yeah. It's always gonna be something. And that's the
It always gonna,
thing.
yeah. Because I did dry January and the first week was terrible. But once you get into the mindset, like even going out socially, it was fine.
Yeah. That's what
Like-
I'm doing with Jay right now. We're doing a mini challenge, and every time I'm not eating out. So at least with 75 hard, I could make a healthy choice. I could still get
Yeah.
a salad,
Right.
whatever. But this challenge is a little hard in that way where I'm not drinking and not eating out at all. So, but this has of course been the busiest month. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there with my friends, and they're eating their fries, and I'm drooling. But I sit there and I have my Diet Coke, and that's my treat for the
Yeah.
day.
And you're making it.
Yeah.
So from the what habit did you learn during the challenge that you have kept up with, and even your ongoing growth at the gym? Like what did you take away from the 75 hard that I'm like, I'm gonna keep doing this because this really did make a big difference,
Yeah. Right.
and it just became a habit.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there were some things going into 75 hard that I was already doing, right? I was already coming here every day. I do drink a lot of water. So although a gallon was a lot, the challenge what Jay and I are doing right now with half a gallon, that's
Yeah.
nothing for me.
Right.
I have 2 dogs. So I was kind of already doing, maybe not the 45-minute workout, but I was still getting out and getting some
Right.
steps in and whatnot. But I think just overall the consistency is kind of the overall takeaway.
Yeah.
Prior, like when I first started here, I was coming, 2-3 days a week and then ramped up, and I would be, somewhat good on food during the week and then binge on the weekends. So I think just consistency has been the overall takeaway. And I think just feeling more confident in if I challenge myself to something, I can do
Yeah.
it. Knowing that I did complete this feat that, a lot of people
Yeah.
wouldn't even dream to take on. So I definitely feel like my brain has kind of flipped a switch. Like I can get into that mode and know that I can do it and complete things with a lot less internal battle. I think that's a huge part of
Oh
it. It's
yeah,
just,
that's a great point.
putting yourself down and like, oh, I can't do this. I don't want to. And it's like, no, I don't want to,
Yeah.
but I know that I can. So I'm
Yeah.
going to do it. So I feel like that's my biggest takeaway that's continued through since finishing.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense too, because 75 days is most people. Like I just did dry January in 30 days, so you're like doing 2.5. So that's plenty of time to make some changes in your habits. And
They say habits 14 days or something like that.
Yeah.
21. They actually say it's actually like 66.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the habit.
Oh, is
formula.
it?
Fight it with that extra
Yeah,
food
yeah, you definitely got it. And I feel like this time, like this group of people are very. I was reading an article about Gen Zers, and I just think a lot of people are very mindful about what they put in their bodies now, whether it's alcohol. I feel like this group of, especially Gen Z people, are very focused on like limiting alcohol now.
yeah, they don't drink like.
Not like
I'm a lot
people
older
used to.
than you, but yeah,
Yeah.
like they go out socially and like, I drank last night, so I'm not going to drink tonight. And
Yeah.
because my kids are like that. They're not big drinkers.
Yeah.
It's really the same. I think in my early 20s, I was definitely a big drinker.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten a little bit older, and especially after doing 75 hard and having all these social events like you're saying and
Yeah.
having a great time, and there was
Yeah.
alcohol involved, it really made me step back
And you can still have fun.
still have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this thing, it's called, like, I think the scientific word is like hedonic syndrome. And basically it's where hedonism is basically the sign of just pleasure, right? So when people drink, of course, it's pleasurable. Even when people do drugs, it's pleasurable to them at that time, of course. And I personally just think that when you can withhold some of this stuff, I'm not saying you gotta never drink ever again, if that's your choice. But when you can withhold some of these things for, let's say, 75 days, it actually makes it more pleasurable when you do. You know, when you just withhold some of these things that we do, whether it's sugar. Of course, you're going to eat sugar eventually. You're not going to say, I'm never eating sugar again. But now having a piece of cake just feels better than if you were to eat it every Friday or for dinner after supper or something.
Itself.
Exactly.
Just your usual.
Yeah. I mean, because even the 30 days of not drinking, I couldn't believe how much different my body felt.
Yeah.
And just sleeping was better. My inflammation was better. And I really didn't miss it. Like after the first 7 to 10 days, I was like, somebody thought I was going to have anxiety by not drinking. I'm like, I don't think so. And I really didn't. Like once you got through those first couple of days, it's
the cravings start to subside.
Yeah, and then because you feel so much better, it's like, I don't want to go back to that.
And I'm not gonna lie. So I did that too, but then when I went, like I had a couple drinks with some friends after it, I got drunk so fast.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is wrong with me? Yeah. So, like I had, I was like, wow. I had like one old fashioned, and then I was like, yo, I gotta stop.
Yeah, straight to.
And that's what I think is hard because, well, for me, going back socially and then going and having drinks, and you're used to having, a drink. You're out for 4 hours. You might have, well, I don't even know, but yeah, now it's like, oh, I can only have one drink. Yeah. So I got to figure this out. So it is a different setup.
Definitely. And
even after you start incorporating stuff back into your nutrition lifestyle.
Yeah.
But you have a better education of, how my body feels. And
right. I mean, alcohol is literally poison. So even though I still enjoy
really
it,
is, yeah.
It really makes me think when I'm on my third espresso martini, like, okay, let's maybe stop for
maybe I should switch to club soda.
Yeah. It's a little hydration. But even after, during 75 hard, I also cut out. I drink diet soda, but I cut that out as well. So even when I came back to drinking diet soda, I couldn't wait for my first crispy Coke Zero.
Yeah.
Did it taste weird?
It didn't taste so.
That's how, because I gave up Diet Coke a long time ago, and I always want one every once in a while, and then I take it. I'm like,
yeah, I think we kind of
so disappointing.
Those endorphins.
Well, and it just tasted so chemically, and I was like, I don't like this anymore.
Don't get me wrong, I'm back on it now, but.
If
I need a little sweet treat.
I just get the mini cans. I just get the little mini cans. They're just right.
Yeah.
So you've been with us almost a year and a half. And you're down 30 pounds, 7% body fat loss. And I know your muscle mass has increased.
Yeah.
We just didn't look at that number. Okay. We should have looked at that number. And you're still coming every day. I always say, because I work out with Evie, I do the 9:15 class if I'm working out. So I always try to stay this far behind Evie, and then I know I'm doing okay. But you're good because you and I push each other, right?
You're speedy.
I am.
I force myself to stay a little extra, so keep me going.
She's sneaky fast. Yeah.
I am. But also it's good because I'll be like, I'm lifting this weight, so Evie, you can lift this weight.
Yeah, I asked you today. I'm like, which kettlebell did you use?
Yeah.
Base it off that.
So I do because I'm very internally competitive as well, but I like to pick out who in the class where I feel like I should be. And so obviously Evie's at the top, but what are you most proud of accomplishing in this last year and a half? Because I feel like you really are so quiet. You just come in, you do your stuff. You definitely are super personable. Don't take quiet at the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come in and see you.
You do. You come into work, but you're also, we have had some new people join the 915 class, which has been great. And I think you're a good motivator for them because I'm 57, you're 28. So for the new people that come in and see old lady and young, powerful strength here, it's good for them to see that. So, but
Spot for somebody.
yeah, but looking back over a year and a half, what's your biggest accomplishment that you think you've achieved?
I mean, certainly the weight loss. I think that was just so daunting. Like I said, when MJ had me step on the scale and I saw the 2, I just couldn't believe that I had, let myself go that far.
Yeah.
So the weight loss was huge. And I really strongly believe in manifestation and really putting what you want out there and really focusing on it. So for the last year, all 2024, the back of my bathroom door looked like a kindergartner threw up on it because I had my vision board and I had everything on there and I had 175 on there in big, that's the goal I wanted to get to. And once I got there, like now if I hit 175, I haven't hit that again since I finished 75 hard. And of course I've let up a little bit and there's been, even though I'm here, I'm still going out and eating what I want and things like that, but I haven't even gotten up to that point when I've gotten to my heaviest post 75 hard. So it really is incredible that you put your mind to something. And I looked at it every single day when I was getting ready before I came to the gym. I had a note handwritten from you on the back of my door, like saying, I think it was for my birthday package. It was just thinking, remember, like I would look at that every day and just know that like I'm appreciated and we got to get going. Like we got to make this happen. So weight loss was definitely number one. Just 30 pounds gone. I can't believe I picked up a 30-pound dumbbell. I'm like, oh my God, I was carrying that on my knees and my hips and my spine and all these things. So, but apart from that, I had a couple other physical goals, one of which was 20 push-ups and to do 2 pull-ups, which I started at 0 pull-ups. So shout out to, JD and Jay and MJ. They kind of, no one has ever taken the time, coach-wise or, myself either, to show me the progressions to get to where I want to be. So, I'd grab a band over there and hop on the squat rack and slowly go down. And eventually, before I got here, I just did 2 to make sure I could, because I haven't been practicing like I should. And then all of a sudden I was able to do 20 push-ups and, hit those type of goals too. So these things that felt so far out really only took, sometimes a few weeks, sometimes, a couple months to kind of get there. So just accomplishing those, but knowing that really, if you want to do something, you just got to have a plan and an accountability partner, and you're going to be there before you know it.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it literally, I don't know, I felt like you came in one day and I was like, wait, she looks totally different. And I'm like, we need to figure this out. Like what? And then you were so funny about the push-ups, and I'm like, you can totally do push-ups.
I still don't like them. Those are still 2 of my least favorite exercises, but we're going to get to them. So,
I feel like that's how it works though.
Yeah.
Like you start doing something and then normally you're like the last one to notice. And then like what Gretchen said, she said, Evie looks different today. And I'm like, yeah, she does. And then you look up, you're like, shit, Evie's lost 20 freaking pounds, And I think that's just because it's consistently, for lack of a better term, just beating the concrete every day, no matter what comes in your way, you're here, you're pushing yourself, challenging yourself, not only physically, but mentally too. And I think that's where the battle really is. Because I'm sure to stop eating sugar was not easy. To come in here and say, man, I got to do push-ups, it's not easy. To work out when it's raining, doing a 75 hard, you still got to go, it's not easy. And it really shows that I get 20 pounds off of this and I feel better, I look better. I'm sure your friends and family notice it as well. And I think to me, that is true success.
Yeah, I feel accomplished. I feel successful. I think that was the best part of 75 hard was, apart from, the clothes fitting better and getting the compliments and these kind of things, it's just having that sense of success and accomplishment. Like I went to something hard and did it.
You're a great motivator for me. Like, I mean, I have fun coming to 915 again.
Yeah.
It's just a good group of people, but I know that if you're there, and then I'm like, why am I not working out? She's here every day. So, and we work out well together. So makes it
And
fun.
not to be too philosophical, but I honestly think that is what true happiness is. If you want to be happy, I think you should do something hard and finish it.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's the most basic way to be happy. And I think in this day and age, there's so many people that are just not happy because people take the easy road all the time, every day, every day, every day. But if you really want to be happy, do something like 75 hard. Go dry January where you don't drink alcohol for 30 days. Tell yourself you're going to work out for 2 weeks straight, whatever that is. I think that just makes people happy. It's a weird way because it's like it sucks when you're going through it, but when you finish, you're like, shit, I feel good, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's a huge sense of accomplishment.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how our bodies and our mind works that way, though.
Yeah.
Like, we got to do something hard in order to because from a trainer perspective, the only way to build muscle is to tear it. That's the only way to build it. And then when it grows, it turns into something stronger.
Yeah,
And
like I said, I feel like my mindset kind of flipped a switch where I'm not fighting myself anymore.
yeah,
If I do wake up and don't feel like going to the gym, I'm like, what's going on? I
yeah,
love going to the gym, so that's why it's really rare and it feels so just a weight off my shoulders to not dread coming to move my body and
Yeah.
get sweaty and now I'm doing a challenge with Jade running 5Ks, which I'm hating, but I get out there and I'm like, oh, well, the first 2 miles weren't that bad. Like, only 1 mile left, that kind of thing, where it's just really keeps building on itself. And now you keep proving to yourself. But like you said, you can start with just commit to 1 week. Show up for yourself for 5 days and do a stretch day on the weekend. Something like that. It can be really small building blocks.
What does your husband and your family think of the new Evie?
My husband was my #1 supporter for the whole thing. I mean, he's the chef in our household. I'm not allowed to cook, actually. That's how bad it is. I can do
Oh, we learned something new. I didn't know that.
yeah,
that's about it.
yeah,
He was just so amazing helping me stay on track with, the no sugar. And we adopted a vegetarian lifestyle at the beginning of 2024. So that was also a huge thing where he knows I'm trying to build muscle and get all my nutrients in. So he was really great about making sure I have, whole food protein sources instead of just relying on supplements and protein shakes, protein bars, which I still do. Obviously, they're quick and easy, but really making sure that I had diversity and, not boring meals. I'm not just eating tofu and rice every day or, whatever it is.
Right.
Vegetarian version of chicken and broccoli.
yeah.
So he was absolutely amazing. But even my friends and family just constantly texting me, checking in, in the 25-day mark, 50-day mark, 75, the day I finished 75 hard, the amount of stuff that got sent to my house from multiple states and my local friends, it was just so amazing.
That's awesome.
To have that kind of support. And, they would join me for, normally it'd be chips and margs on a patio, but instead it was, let's go for a walk. Let's go to a free yoga class in Whitewater, that kind of thing. So I had a really incredible train coming through.
It wasn't the train. It was the...
No, that's...
No, it's like a worker truck on the tracks.
Yeah. So, Evie, what would you say are 3 attributes that you have right now that allow you to be able to be as a badass as you are?
Thank you. I think I learned the word grit back in high school, and I never felt like I had that. But now I feel like I do. So I would really put that as #1, that I feel like when it was explained to me, it was almost something like you were born with, but I certainly don't believe that. I feel like I have developed that.
Yeah, you earned it.
Found, that I have grittiness. And other attributes. I guess the self-commitment, the dedication. I know that, being here does take time away from my home life and my business and things like that, but I can't do those things if I don't have a healthy body and a healthy mind. So just dedication to myself. And the third one, let's see.
Not cooking.
Okay, my third attribute is I'm a terrible chef.
Yeah. And you know what? It could have been you being a terrible chef makes you such a great person to work out with. Because it's like you go so hard in other areas.
Yeah.
I personally think that having grit and having just a tough mental stand is something you have to build. One thing, like, we talk about this a lot. Like, our slogan is adversity is your advantage, right? And one thing about adversity is that everyone goes through it, no matter what race, man or woman, what age, whether you have a lot of money or you come from nothing, you're broke. I think it's at some point each and every one of us go through adversity. So it's like a universal human experience. And for you to have that grit, it shows that you've been through something. And I think for a lot of our listeners and viewers, that's something that they need to hear, because sometimes it can feel like I'm the only one that has to pick my daughter up, to do this, or I'm the only one that had to work late and it's hard for me to get up in the morning. When you're like, nah, there are a lot of people going through the same human experience that we are. And then you just have some people that choose to say, you know what, I'm gonna do it anyway, and other people that don't. So
Right, yeah. And I won't pretend like I've been through adversity compared to, of course, so many other people. Like, I am a white person and grew up socially, economically well off and all these things, but there's still things I've gone through, and you just have to start small. Like, if you do have these bigger adversities that you're coming from, you can still start small and build up to where you really want to be. So I won't say that, I haven't had these advantages to start with, but you still have to build off of those and improve your life to where you really want to be.
And don't you feel like, in this last year and a half, all that you've accomplished, to me, I feel like you can conquer anything, because you've already done some super hard things. Yeah. So I think it kind of also makes everything else a little easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To what's your next mountain you're going to climb,
right.
Mentally you've completely changed your mindset and how you attack things that are hard in your life, and that going what you went through this last year and a half has made it like, I'm pretty cool. Yeah. I can do all this.
Yes.
And I'll say, so we've been in this location for about a little over 5 years. And I don't do as many of the classes I used to do as far as working out in them. But I will tell you, like, as a guy, when I work out with, like, we got a lot of women that are just sheroes, and they're just so strong. And when I come into class and I work out with y'all and do some of these things, I'm like, I gotta be on my A game. I gotta make sure I got sleep. I gotta make sure, like, I'm grabbing the weight, because between you, Elvira, Jesse, Gretchen, Bree, so many women in here, I'm like, yo, I gotta really put some freaking work in. This is the strongest group of women that I've seen in a very, very long time. And just seeing you ladies' mindsets going through the classes. I remember I was squatting and I had like an 80-pound dumbbell. And then Elvira comes up to me, she's like, can you hand me that when you're done? I'm like, I'm not handing you this. But it's crazy. So yeah.
They do.
And I think you are exactly the culture and what we've been looking for. We
You're the perfect client.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because we look for people who just take accountability for themselves, who don't mind working hard, and who are, for lack of a better term, just coachable. And it makes our job easier, because we get to see the results, and then it makes you happy because you get to feel the results. So
it's also, of course, you guys hold me accountable when I know I have a weigh-in coming up.
Yeah.
It better be lower than, or it better be close to my goal, whatever that is. I know that you guys are here to support me, but also here to discipline.
Yeah.
And, I fall off track.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, and as well as my other co-worker outers.
Yeah. Co-worker outers, I like that.
We hold each other accountable.
We do, yeah, for sure. So you're doing when does the challenge with Jay end?
This Friday.
And how long have you been doing it?
This is a month-long one.
And so what's next? What's your next big challenge that you need to?
I think I'm gonna take a little break for a while. Challenges, I told Jay, I'm done with these challenges, because the hardest part of this one was 5Ks. Now I wanted to improve my run time, and I wanted to run a sub 26 5K. And last week it was 26:28, and I just felt crushed. So close. That means I have to do it again this week, so we'll see. But once I hit the 26 or sub 26 5K. I'm gonna take a little break for a while. I'll still be here every day. But
I think that's fair.
yeah, eventually my full weight goal is I had my weight starting with a 2 at one point. I would really like to get to 159.9. So I could see it's
Okay.
1.5. So that'll take a little bit
Awesome.
longer here. But we're not.
You can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my long-term goal. On top of, my push-ups and pull-ups and all that good stuff. But
Well, yeah, because you've gotten a lot stronger. So,
I feel it.
Yeah.
yeah, even with when we do barbell stuff, you definitely have gotten way, way stronger.
Yeah. Well, it's the coaches every day pissing me off and putting more weight on the bar.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out? Because you really have done the whole start to finish, I feel like, from when you started coming here to even now. Because it's not like you've quit. You're still consistent every day. You're still doing the grind work and inside and outside of the gym.
I really think it's just taking that first step. I have my friend to thank for getting me on Class Pass just to kind of get me back into the workout world.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes for you, if you want to try, something that you've done before and want to get back into it, or you want to try yoga or Pilates, or even starting on the nutrition side, or a therapist, something to start that healthy, habit stacking of just putting yourself in a better position to succeed. I think a lot of times we self-sabotage. And also like being scared to even see what the reality is, right? Like going to get a blood test, like where is everything? Stepping on the scale, when I saw that 200 number, it was just like, whoa, like it was such a reality check because, I checked it 2 months ago. I'm like, I'm in the 190s, but it's not that bad yet, whatever that.
Yeah.
You just don't realize because it's so easy to ignore and it's so easy to be comfortable. And it just really is taking that first step, whatever it is, if it's, making the doctor's appointment or making the gym consultation.
Yeah.
I always say change is hard, but change is usually for the better.
And I think you need to try out multiple things, right? Like I have done many classes and stuff in the past, and even with Class Pass, I started with Pilates and did a few other local gyms, and then I landed here. So I think it's important to not give up when the first thing you try doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a very valid point.
Evie, that's a freaking bar. That's good. Yeah.
So well, thank you
Thank you.
for sharing your journey and coming to talk to us and being our first guest.
Honored, and thank you for creating such an amazing culture here. And
So what we learned is that when it comes to fitness, when it comes to working out, you got to push through.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You just have to start, show up, be consistent.
And
Even if you're quiet, you can be
Yeah.
quiet and just come in.
Come in here, you can be grumpy, you can
Yeah.
sit in the corner until class starts, but just be here, get it done.
Yeah.
And you're going to start to loosen up. You're going to start to feel like it's not.
And even if you come and you give 60% that day, because that's all you can do, but you still showed up.
And this is my pet peeve. I'm going to go on a little bit of Kanye rant. But for all the people that say, I have to get in shape before I come to the gym, no, you don't. Okay?
Last
Evie
time
was
I
not
checked,
in
that's
shape.
why you come to the gym.
That's why you come to the gym. So don't feel like you have to be in shape before you come to the gym. That is our job as trainers and as people who work in this facility. We'll do that. You just get here and show up.
Show up.
And then you can end up, if you're lucky, like Evie Enderle. Yeah. But we appreciate you, Evie.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on our episode 2 of Reps and Real Talk.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.